G here with another Fire Emblem Heroes video, and today we're going to take a look at this month's legendary hero, and it is finally, after a long wait, male Corrin getting his legendary version, Child of Dawn. So a lot of people, Fates fans, have been waiting for Corrin's. I've been waiting for his, even though I'm not a fan of him at all. You know, he was long overdue because his female counterpart got one years ago, and here he is finally, and he has some pretty good art himself. I like it. He's got the aura, he's got the glow. Looks pretty epic, and he's a fire legendary hero and a green infantry dragon. So sounds a bit familiar because legendary female Lear, who is still relatively recent, you know, she is also the same class type and same dragon type and movement type. So I kind of feel for her because legendary male Corrin is obviously newer, so he's going to be a bit stronger, and he provides some things that she does not at all. So I feel for legendary Lear fans or female Lear fans because almost kind of the case with legendary male Lear, because even he's an earth legendary, but still he had a lot of similar traits to her, but he provided more, and kind of a similar situation with Corrin here, who is the same class type, same dragon type, but has a lot more going for him. So let's check his skill set and what he's bringing to the table. He's not using Omega Yato, because I know a lot of people, that's the weapon that he uses in Fates. That's his ultimate weapon, I guess. Yeah, he doesn't have it. So yeah, they just want to keep dragons as dragons. It's understandable. You know, they don't want to. I guess they don't want to be too predictable, but at the same time, it's not bad to be predictable. I mean, we never got Robin with 11 sword, which I find is a shame. And I guess we're not going to get male Corrin with the Omega Yato. But yeah, this is a weapon. Hashido's Breath. So this gives you -1 cooldown and disencounter. At the start of turn, you have Time's Pulse, which is pretty good. Because that's going to help his crazy special here, Dragon Fang Shot. And at the start of combat, if you're alive, you grant bonus to units' entire stats to equal to the number of allies within 3 spaces of unit times 3 plus 5, maximum 14. So that's a lot of stats. And you reduce damage from the foe's first attack by 7. So that's flat DR, which is very good. And this also includes the brave hits. And if the foe's attack can trigger foe's special, and your res is greater than or equal to the foe's res plus 5, you inflict special cooldown count +1 on the foe before their first attack. So this is the classic scowl effect, which is of course an inheritable skill and on a lot of dragons. So this is very good having this built in because you can run other A slots. And again, if you're alive, you have the ability to have more special cooldown count. So this is kind of like a mini special spiral after combat, so that's pretty cool. And of course the adaptive damage. So basically this weapon is very special oriented. It's not that long, which I'm glad about. Doesn't have too many effects. I mean, obviously Dragon Fang Shot here takes the majority of it, I guess, in terms of text length. But this just gives you extra stats, a little bit of DR, not a little bit, but flat DR, Time's Pulse, mini special spiral to loop your special really easily, and disencounter. So pretty simple weapon. And then Dragon Fang Shot is the meat and potatoes. Boost special damage by 40% of units res. So this is PRF special, obviously, because Corrin's Dragon Fang Shot, that's kind of his thing, or their thing. And if units res is equal to the foe's res, you reduce damage from attacks during combat from AoEs, and by percentage equal to 4 minus the current special cooldown count value times difference between stats. Okay, I've never seen this calculation. So 4 minus the current special cooldown count value times the difference between stats. Maximum difference between stats is 10. So does that mean the difference between the res or all the stats? I think it's just res, right? I don't know. Either way, you get a lot of DR into this, and this is, of course, going to be in the special, so that means it's not pierceable, I believe. And you also have basically a mini or almost a full iceberg in terms of damage output from 40% of your res. And of course, as dragons are going to have a lot of high res, and it's no exception for Corrin here, so that's amazing. And we're not done yet. If unit special or unit special trigger during combat, you have the ability to have damage reduction. So, you know, the same thing we've seen from a lot of weapons, and physical and magical no follow-up. So that's amazing to weaken tanks and just get through DR. And then after combat, if you're special triggered, you apply Divine Vein Water. So this is a new terrain status / effect on the field that Corrin here can inflict and apply on target space and on each space within 2 spaces of target space for 1 turn. So Divine Vein Water is pretty much the exact same as Divine Vein Flame, except the difference is you have to trigger your special. I think for Flared Sparrow and, you know, Winter Edelgard and stuff, you just have to attack, I believe, and you don't have to trigger your special. But here it says if unit special triggered, and of course for Corrin it's not going to be hard because you're going to be able to easily loop it thanks to your weapon. So getting the Divine Vein Water is not going to be a big deal for the most part. So yeah, you just have to trigger your special to apply it, and again, it's going to be the same as Divine Vein Flame, where you basically act as a trench and it makes it hard and acts as difficult terrain for foes to pass through if your range equals 2. Moving over the space costs +1 movement and does not apply to cannot be slowed by terrain effects. So of course my girl Kade Lin does not give a crap about this, so I'm happy about that. But the difference and well, besides the special part, is you inflict speed -5 and you also have DR again. So you already have the DR halving right here, and then you can also do it again here. So that is a lot of DR halving. That's basically shredding almost all of it. So compared to Flared Sparrow and the Divine Vein Flame gave you the 7 chip damage cheese, and this one has DR. So this is really good support for teammates that do not have this, and you can just stack it with what you already have here. And other units might also have this. So you might use Legendary Camilla. So having this kind of status is very, very good. And it's going to be pretty scary to face if you're, it can catch you off guard. You might be thinking you're safe with a lot of DR stacking, and then they just pierce through a lot of it, and you're done. So yeah, Dragon Fang Shot is very, very good offensively and provides support, which is something, again, Legendary Female Lear cannot do. I know I'm not trying to hate her, but I'm just comparing them because they're the same dragon color and type and fire season. They're both fire legendaries. So, but yeah, Dragon Fang Shot's amazing. It's not inheritable, of course. It's a PRF. Speed Res Finish, which we haven't seen since Head of Tiki, and High Dragon Wall. This is basically Dragon Wall 4, and I really like how they handled this skill because I was wondering how they would, manage making Dragon Wall 4, and yeah, I think they knocked it out of the park. So this gives you the Phantom Res, kind of like all the tier 4 Spurn, and the the dodge skills giving you the Phantom Speed, or this Phantom Speed 1.5 or whatever. It's not really full Phantom Speed. Same thing here. It's not really full Phantom Res, but it's a little bit. And you inflict Speed Res -4 on the foe. And of course, if your res is greater than the foe's res, you can lower the damage. So it's basically like Dragon Ball 3. It doesn't increase like compared to, the dodge skills, which can go up to 50. So I guess they decided to keep this to 40 because I guess they figured, dragons already have a lot going for them, I guess. But either way, that's still a good amount of DR, of course. That's always good to have. And this is the part that sets it apart. So foes with range equals 2 cannot warp into spaces within 4 spaces of unit. And that is amazing because this is the effect that, stuff like Gatekeeper has, obviously, where he can stop warping. But also, Valentine Myrrh, who has this. And this is very annoying because I fought a good amount of Valentine Myrrh since she released, and she can be very noxious, especially when you rely on units like Plumeria with Guidance 4 or Flyers with Guidance 4 or whatever, or if you're like me, if you use the Toon Sita who has the warping, it's very annoying because you won't be able to do your normal shenanigans, or if you're using Legendary Alincia, who's a pretty common unit. So yeah, having this in the Dragon Wall skill is very cool, and it's very fitting because it's called a Dragon Wall. So it makes sense. If you're having a huge Dragon Wall, you're not going to be able to go over the wall. So I like how that worked out. So yeah, kudos to the developers for this skill. I like how it was made. So this is going to be inheritable, obviously, with the yellow border, I'm pretty sure. And yeah, High Dragon Wall is going to be a really cool skill for a lot of dragons. And then attack res ploy, of course, for even more support because Corrin is going to have a lot of res. So yeah, that is Legendary Male Corrin. I think he's pretty simple. He's nothing like that crazy. I mean, I guess he is pretty crazy in his own right, but I don't think he's like, compared to what we've seen in the past few months with like Emblem Mike, I don't think he's like going to be that dominant. I mean, he's going to be very good, don't get me wrong. Dragon Fang Shot is no joke for sure. And I'm probably going to lose to a fair share of mine. But yeah, I don't think he's that crazy, at least on paper. I mean, this is just a first impressions video, like I always do, just my first reaction. But yeah, here is Corrin here, eating up a hit for Vasir and retaliating with Dragon Fang Shot. Vasir is not very, she hasn't aged very well as a defense mythic and a nuke, sadly. She can still hit pretty hard if you invest in her and stuff, but there's a lot of units that can tank her because we're getting a lot of Omni tanks, and we just got a new one with Legendary Male Corrin. So he's an Omni tank that can provide very good support and the unique Divine Vein Water terrain. So here's the rest of the units on the banner. We have Legendary Fae, Legendary Female Shez, Asker, Legendary Female Lear. We have Golvig, Vasir, Rearm Lucina. We have Lumera, the mythic version. My boy Emblem Marth, Hortensia, and we have Emblem Ike. So this banner is pretty stacked overall. There's a few duds in here that you might not want, like Legendary Fae, who hasn't aged the best. She's one of the older ones here. She's waiting for a Refine and Remix. But green is easily the best color in my opinion, close with red, because green has, of course, the new Legendary Male Corrin, who's amazing. You have Rearm Lucina, who's one of the most coveted arcane weapons in the game, one of the best ones in Arcane Threema. That's an amazing Arcane Axe, and you can dupe skills on her if you get multiple copies, like No Quarter and stuff, so that's really good. And yeah, so, and then you also have legendary female Lear, who I know I was talking about how she was inferior to male Corrin, and she is, but she still is a good unit on her own right. Of course, she can still pack a punch, literally. And she also has amazing fodder because she provides no counter disrupt, attack speed finish 4, and attack speed pledge, which are all really good skills. No counter disrupt is still kind of niche. Not many units really want to use it except for like Brave Marth here and there, for those who use my boy. But no counter disrupt isn't used as much. But attack speed pledge is a very, very universally wanted skill. Same with finish 4, so she provides amazing fodder. So green overall, I'd say, is the best color. And then you go to red. They have the two best sword infantries in the game right now, in my opinion. Emblem Ike and Emblem Marth. I guess Emblem Marth is a little bit more contested. Maybe you can slot someone in who's number 2. I think Emblem Ike is easily the number 1, and I think he's the best Omni tank right now. He's ridiculous. There is like, I mean, there's counterplay to him for sure. There's a good amount of counterplay, but it's very specific a lot of the time. You have to really run a specific build. You have to run like Fatal Smoke or Hardy Bearing, and I can speak from experience because I have a +10 attuned Sita, and she cannot kill him unless I guess he's away from allies completely, and even then it's not really guaranteed. Or he has, or I have to have Hardy Bearing. So Hardy Bearing stops you from hitting him and powering him up. So Emblem Ike, you guys know at this point, if you played this game in any kind of competitive capacity, he is a menace, and he's a very central unit to the metagame that has really brought Omni tanking back. I think him and Attune Sita have really done that. So yeah, Emblem Ike is amazing. Again, the best sword infantry in the game, along with Emblem Marth. And they, of course, outside of the capability as a unit, they also provide amazing fodder with Potent, Lagu's Friend, Infantry No Follow-Up, attack speed finish 4, but they also provide the inheritance, or not the inheritance, the engage effect, where they can accelerate your specials for Marth's case, and you can also give True DR in Ike's case. So they are amazing units overall and really make the red color pop. And then the last unit in the red color is Vasir, who I talked about. Hasn't aged the best, but you know, and her fodder is not the greatest. She provides, I think, low speed res 4, which low skills haven't aged the best, sadly. They're not as good as they used to be, even with the tier 4 version, because we have stuff that applies more pressure, like Occultist Strike and Assassin Strike and stuff, and like even Desperation 4 or whatever, trace skills. You know, every skill slot is competitive, but lows have kind of fallen off, I feel like. But it can still be good if you're facing a unit that relies on buffs, so that's always good to have. But yeah, Vasir is kind of a dud in the red, I guess, but she can still be pretty good if you do invest into her, and she can still pack a punch here and there. And then in colorless, we have Hortensia, who is the only user of, or the only wielder, haver of Arcane Charmer, the only arcane staff right now. Golvig, who is kind of like Vasir, hasn't aged the best, but she's a bit better because she can move again. That's really good, and still pack a punch of her own. And then Asker, who also hasn't aged the best. He's not the greatest tank anymore. He's not as bulky as he used to be, but he still has that true damage reduction, and he can also Gale Force and still hit pretty hard. You know, he's the big himbo bull. So, you know, I use him a lot. He's part of my main light mythic core. I have him at +10, and he is useful sometimes. And then blue, I think, is the worst color because you have Legendary Faye, who I mentioned earlier is one of the older legendaries. She's waiting for that remix or fine. And we have Lumera, who is a light mythic. I think it's pretty underrated. I feel like I don't see her very much on my Aether raids. You know, defense replays. I don't really see anyone using Lumera that much. I guess light mythics are very competitive, but she does provide the Divine Vein Stone terrain, I believe, so that's pretty good. And who else is in blue? Oh yeah, Legendary Female Shaz. I can't forget about her. She is also kind of older, not as old as Faye, but even being older, she's still really good because effective damage across everything is amazing. And she's also a good soft check or counter to Emblem Ike, because Emblem Ike is very slow and Shaz has to meet a speed check to get the effective damage, right? So she's always going to outspeed him and get that effective damage, and she hits twice. So that's a good chance to just kill him in one fell swoop, or two fell swoops, I guess, with those two hits. So she can be a good counter / check to Emblem Ike in my experience, because I fought one in Arena Assault that was +10, and I just busted out my, I think my +1 or +2 Shez, and she just killed him. So she's a good underrated way to deal with Ike. So yeah, that's pretty much everything in the banner, I think. Yeah, so pretty stacked overall. There's a few duds, like I said, that you might not want, but overall the banner is very, very good. So good luck if you're summoning. Congrats to Corrin fans. I know you guys have been waiting for this for a long time, but keep in mind there are summer banners are coming up, and I'm glad that it wasn't Minerva or something, because we all expected it to be green, and Minerva could have been like an Axe unit or something. So I'm glad Corrin got his instead, because I'm saving for the summer banners, because they might have someone that I really want on those. So yeah, I can skip on this easily, and I already plus 10 Emblem Marth. You guys saw my summoning videos, so yeah, I can safely skip this, which is nice, and continue saving. But if you are summoning on this, good luck, and if you're not, then good luck saving. But yeah, leave a like if you guys enjoyed. Let me know what you guys think down below. Please stay safe out there. Peace out.